I believe populism is essentially the way in which politicians manipulate people into supporting them by presenting themselves as someone they can relate to as an alternative to a traditional politician. To me, this is a very corrupt, unfair, and dangerous way to gain supporters. I believe that the MAGA movement is a perfect example of populism, and it has, in my opinion, done a lot of social damage here in the United States and even in other countries. In the article, Duina discusses how politicians use tactics such as spouting conspiracy theories, mocking and insulting their opponents, and disregarding the proper decorum a professional should have when running for office. People who are more desperate for change are led to believe that the answer is someone more relatable and who tells it like it is. On a larger scale, populism only creates more division and separation, and the world needs less of that and more coming together. Personally, I found it hard to see some of my family members fall into the MAGA movement as it has affected our relationships and changed their whole personality in some ways. Some of them are now distancing themselves from the movement because they feel lied to given the current state of things. So, for the second article, I believe using a system where leaders were appointed in more of a communal way and based on that person's strengths makes sense. If we did that here in America, I think it would be beneficial to all come together rather than having two sides fighting against each other. I also agree with the idea that once someone has done their job and are no longer beneficial to the community, they willingly step down and someone more qualified takes over. Our current system makes it hard to get rid of leaders who are not doing their job properly. In the article, Fletcher talks about how the Ogamog would show by example what kind of leader they were and provide service to the community. It makes sense that this would be effective because people are more likely to have faith in someone who follows through with their promises. Fletcher also mentions how leaders are not typically chosen based on their personality, which further proves that actions speak louder than words. In my family, my husband and I operate in a similar way in terms of how we decide who does what. For example, since I am back in school, my husband has taken over things I normally take care of. In general, though, we usually communicate and delegate tasks based on convenience. And then the third article, I believe white supremacists gain acceptance by hiding their true feelings and opinions from people around them, including changing their appearance so that they can blend in with society. To me, this is an alarming tactic because white supremacists are dangerous people, in my opinion, and I wouldn't want to be unknowingly associated with someone like that. I have always known of white supremacists, but I have noticed a shift in people being more vocal about their prejudices ever since Obama started running for office. In the article, the authors talk about how many of the alt-right essentially live two lives in terms of how they conceal their true identities in public. This can allow them to infiltrate agencies such as the police force, which could eventually lead to higher forms of government positions. People who believe in white supremacy should not be allowed to serve in any type of public service positions, especially involving the government. As I stated previously, I started to notice more emboldened racism when Obama was running for president, but I've noticed things have gotten much worse under the Trump presidency. I remember in 2020, Trump was asked to denounce white supremacy, and he chose not to. I had a really hard time with some of my close family members being Trump voters, and it definitely shifted my views about them. I couldn't understand how anyone could vote for someone who's known to be racist. Thank you.